there was a time, and this is going back to the very beginning of our conversation of this string. There was a time when that Bangin' in Little Rock came out, right? During that time, it was an era that was really tough and bleak for the black community. It was where art was the imitation of life.
Mm-hmm.
Since times have changed and progressed from those days, it has become more of a, instead of art imitating life, life is imitating the art.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of this has gone wrong when we talk about the Meg the Stallion, the Tory Lanes, the guy that was shot at the Waffle House. Um, these are guys that never really lived that life, from what I understand, and that life caught them because I mean it's in their lyrics, it's in their music, it's it's and they just don't live it. And I think I really believe this. The only way to get control back of the community, to get control back of the culture, is for us, we men, to lead properly. For all the women that are not in their that aren't wanting to be wives and not living a wifely way, lead them heifers alone. Lead them alone. Fuck them.
Can you still like
Don't
their
give them
pictures?
like going back to what
Yes.
Trigger Mike, and he said, and I don't want to drill back down on this, when he said he click a like on the booty picture, right? Not only did the person you click that like on see it, but everybody else sees those likes, and that attention. Women crave attention more than
They do
just
like
about any damn thing. If they see that one picture that type of picture can get 2 million likes, why don't I do 2 million pictures to get 16 million likes? Why not? And that's what they do. And then
So
all of her
especially this
damn
younger
friends,
generation. They
this is
and then
proud.
interesting.
all of her damn friends do it, and we end up with this foolishness
So
that we have now. And
also,
this is where I do agree with you though, Trigger Mike. We don't marry them. We don't marry those
yeah.
females.
But
We
we're
don't.
talking
We
about
don't.
younger women. A lot of these
You're
women
right.
are
Right.
younger, so but even with that, are they really looking for marriage like 21, 22? You know what I'm saying? So
Well, the problem is that they eventually will be.
right,
Right.
but unfortunately they're not looking that far in advance.
And the craziest part about it, but to AP's point, the women. So the funny thing about liking pictures and women getting a certain type of feeling from that, and then propelling that into certain type of behaviors and life choices. I've always looked at. I was just having a conversation with somebody. They were like, "Would you date a girl that did OnlyFans and turned her life around?" I said, "No." I was raised traditionally. If your mind is to that you could ever do something like that, you can't get a ring from me. I'm not an idiot. Tigers don't change their stripes. So, that's why maybe that's why we can compartmentalize that in a way such as we're never really looking at those women seriously. So, is it worse that I like the picture or that a woman paraded herself around like that on social media? Like you have to really understand the dichotomy there.
I don't think one is worse than the other. I think it's kind of like a easy cop out to be like, oh, what I'm doing is not that bad compared to what she's doing. At some point, it's just a
What I'm doing is not that bad to compare with what
I beg to differ. I
if
think
she
it's
had her
worse
ass
for her
out.
shaking her behind.
yeah. Just to kind of finish
Yeah.
off what I was saying, it's
uh,
it's just like at the end of the day, when you engage it, you're engaging it, period. And the fact that she's doing it at the end of the day, you're still exemplifying some form of behavior. And as a married man or a man that is in a monogamous relationship, as a married woman, um, a woman in a monogamous relationship, there are things that are appropriate and there are things that are not, which is all relative to you and your spouse. Obviously no one can speak on what anyone else's situation, but I think at the root of it, what we were the whole meeting of the minds behind of it is like, if we're women and we're like, okay, well, this is how we view it as women. Obviously, men and women process things differently and we view things differently. So it's just a matter of us sharing with you our perspective on how we feel when we observe that happening.
In the interest of fairness, though, is that the same sentiment for women who like the picture as well?
I agree. Yeah, for sure.
AP mute up.
They thought too.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be
Thought
honest. This is just my opinion. I do believe the behavior in terms of male or female, whatever, being half naked, twerking, shaking it, half like scantily dressed. If I had to do a judgment call, I do think that behavior is worse than the person liking the picture. And the reason I say that is because you can't see the person liking the picture. You understand what I'm saying? So it's the outward expression of the negative behavior. Not to say that the behavior of the person liking a picture is it perpetuates the behavior even more. So I think that's just as bad. But I guess, just from my personal opinion, I do think that accountability, if the picture was never there to begin with, you wouldn't have anything to like. You know what I'm
I
saying?
got questions.
All cyclic. Like when you think about it, it's
Ladies.
all cyclic. The
Yeah,
Ladies.
I agree, because it's like looking at the difference between
Ladies, do you
a
agree?
crackhead and the dealer. Do you blame the dealer or the crackhead?
Do you think men should go to the strip club?
That doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I do think there is, and it's the kind of like, it's the same thing with pornography. It's like when you live in this sense of, when you're putting yourself in this false sense of reality rather than being like in real life. And so you're like online liking all of these pictures, you're watching all this pornography, you're staying in the strip club. It's the same exact thing with spending all of your time on the PS4. It's like you're giving yourself this false sense of, oh, I'm getting the girl, or oh, I'm getting, and it's not real life. And so you're winning in all of the wrong spaces. And then you come out of this whole, then you unveil yourself and you realize the life that you're really living in. So yeah, I think it's all interconnected. You're on Instagram and you're liking these half naked women. You're staying in the strip club. You're drinking all the time. You're engaged. Like it's all promiscuous behavior that leads from one step to the next, to the next, to the next. And so at some point you end up playing with fire. You're bound to get burnt at some point.
So as long as I can remember, I haven't been to the strip club in quite some time. I actually grew up in one. Don't ask me no questions. But my dad and my uncle were strip club owners. But you do realize that women attend. So
But Trigger Mike, before you say that though, I just want to say we're against an IG like, but strip clubs are okay.
Thank you.
Listen,
That's where I was
the
going.
Bible, the Lord said,
Y'all live in
it is
Atlanta.
not
I
okay.
just want to make sure I heard that correctly.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, I was referencing patterns of behaviors. Obviously, Instagram likes are more easily accessible than you going out with your boys every now and then, and y'all just so happen to go to a strip club, and it's like, okay, now I'm home. It's a very but I also did just mention that it's the pattern of the behavior. And so you're on Instagram, like you're following all of these Instagram models, you're liking all of these pictures all of the time. Are you in the strip club all of the time? Or did you just go out with your boys one night and y'all just had a long night one night? At some point, I think they're different. Right. So when I said
if you're making it a lifestyle,
I think that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get it out, but yeah.
Let me just give you my last thought on this, okay?
And sorry, we'll let you in a second.
Yeah, brothels, concubines, and polygamy, all things that are either illegal or frowned upon in this country, were legal 200 years ago, all over the world. Somehow, with all of those things in society, men still found a way to create families, progress society, take care of their children. But you're telling me now that a IG like in a strip club hold the same weight as those things.
So,
She
so,
didn't say
Okay.
that.
so let me. I think that the original. This is a totally different conversation than we were having before. We were strictly talking about you promoting it, meaning more women are going to want to do it because that's how they get you. You're giving them attention, so those women are going to want to do that to get that attention that you're giving. Now you guys are talking about some lifestyle stuff. It's past 12 o'clock, and we have changed the narrative.
Hour.
Like, what are we doing here? Little podcast, welcome.
What up, though, y'all?
He's got the
Hi.
mic.
He ain't got no neck.
Close.
Chic
Is it
Critique is
frozen?
in the building.
What's up?
Is it frozen?
No, I ain't frozen.
I don't
Oh,
His
why
background
is
is
not
That's the
moving?
picture.
So wait a minute. So Miss
Oh, it
Hagan,
must
you
be a
hating on me because I'm
screensaver.
dark skinned?
Who?
You hating on me because I'm dark skinned? Is
That's
that what
right. No,
happening right now?
it's his
This
screensaver.
is okay. That's I was like, no,
Ask Lil
not at
Podcast.
all.
Ask him the colorism question.
What was the
Wait a minute, hold on. Before we do that, can I just get this off my chest?
Go ahead.
Bro, I just want to thank Mrs. Team Della
CD.
for all of your am I saying it right?
Yeah, you did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for all of your commentary tonight, because it helped me reaffirm how much I hate feminism, and how much I support manosphere and red pill content. And that's not a diss. We need these type of conversations. That's why I love Chic Critique. It's the second best podcast on YouTube next to me. And yeah, but I just want to say, like, the way that you think. Oh, it's like, if I say what's worse, the cops who beat Rodney King or the fact that I watched the video, right? One of them is worse than the other one. We can't click a like on Instagram if the girls aren't there. We can't watch them shake their behinds at the strip club if the girls aren't there. I am an advocate for pornography, but I do understand that I couldn't watch it if the girls didn't participate because I'm not there for the dudes. So at the end of the day, I understand what you all were saying about the accountability of men. We do have a responsibility, to a certain degree, to promote, as you described it, that which we like. But I think Trigger Mike made a great point when he said, right, that marriage is the greatest promotion, is the greatest form of promotion. What are we typically marrying, right? There's no way for us to really quantify this right now, but I would agree with him when he said he believes that most married black women would probably be dark skinned, even if it was just by a very small percentage. I would agree with that. Just like I tell people all the time, when I go to grocery stores and I see the women with rings, they're usually not the quote unquote baddies. The women I see with the rings on usually got some weight on them, feet kind of fat, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Weave all down their back. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's a lot of the stuff that we talk about is just narratives that we kind of push on each other, as well as that has been pushed on us by the media. But as far as the colorism argument go, I really don't know what you expect from me, Trigger Mike, because I agree with the sisters. Like, dark-skinned men, for one, have always been, you know what I'm saying, accepted widely to me, by older women. But when we were younger, let's stop playing. The light-skinned dude was what was popping. This is what it was. He was light-skinned, the green eyes, the curly hair. He was what was popping. He was hitting all the girls that we really wanted, which just so happened to be the dark-skinned girls. When I was young, I had an affinity for dark-skinned girls, but they didn't like me. Why? Because I was dark-skinned.
That's a fact.
I had no swag. But at the end of the day, once I realized that the light-skinned girls liked me, then I went with what liked me, right? Because you get tired of the rejection.
I
And
was just
so,
talking about
in
the
the
fact
media,
that you don't even like black girls at all. That's what I was.
I usually notice
that is
that
not
the
true,
opposite. If it's a light skinned girl, then typically it's a dark skinned guy. And if
right?
it's a dark skinned girl, then it's a light skinned guy.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing about
Mhm.
it is, like, I would say this. So this is when I was young. I can't really speak to what's going on now, right? But I would say when I was younger, growing up, it seemed like the dark-skinned guys, it's kind of like making a high value argument, right? The dark-skinned guys was getting the light-skinned girls, but it wasn't the nerd dark-skinned guy. It wasn't the clumsy dark-skinned guy. It wasn't the goofy dark-skinned guy. It wasn't the poorly dressed, no name brand wearing dark-skinned guy. It was the popular dark-skinned guy. It was the dark-skinned guy that was on the basketball team or the football team. It was the dark-skinned guy that was a hustler in them streets. He had on the Nikes and the Jordans. He had swag about himself, right? It was the dark-skinned guy with the light-skinned guy's behavior, where he was very nonchalant towards the women and their come-ons, right? But at the same time, he would give them enough attention to satisfy his own desires. So even though you're right, you know what I'm saying, the way it played out, again, the average light-skinned guy was still bagging more chicks. I knew guys when we was 15, 16 that had women in their 30s that would pull up, pick us all up, take us to the gym, sit outside the gym for 4-5 hours waiting on this dude to come outside from the gym. Gladly just sitting out there reading a book because she want this light-skinned dude with this curly hair. Hopefully he gonna give me a baby with this light skin and this curly hair. That is really what they want.
Them baby, them jeans.
Crazy.
You know, it's so funny that you brought up a topic, and I know this is off topic, but you brought up nerds. Do y'all know there's a difference between nerds and geeks, right?
No, what's the difference?
There is a listen.
All nerds aren't smart.
Listen. Yes, they're not all smart. I went to, if you're ever in Atlanta and you have to get your phone, please go to a place called Micro Center, especially the one in Duluth. Okay, listen, those are nerds. Okay, geek is like Geek Squad. He's kind of cool. He's got a little swag about himself, but he's a little geek too. You know what I'm saying? Nerds, they get excited when they see a computer. Like, oh, like it's like a. Now y'all get when y'all see a female, like they get that way about technology. You know, and you're like, and they like, I mean, they have like, and other nerds come in, they have conversation. They're like, yo, did you see this? And they're like, I'm like, wow, like I really just saw this. Like, I love it. It was beautiful, but
I never knew that.
I realized there was a difference between a nerd and a geek.
Right. I don't think I ever really looked at it that way, but I think it's kind of more exemplary now because like what's buddy name? Jonathan Barronville always says, ladies, the geeks are winning now, right? The nerds are winning now. Like, you know,
geeks are winning.
Y'all overlook this.
Like they were single.
Well, matter of fact, but he always says nerds though. I just thought about that. So maybe he means geek.
Between, I even Google it. There's a difference between the two
right, so this is what I'm saying. Maybe when he says nerds, he means geek. Right? By what you're saying. So he says nerds, but he means geek. Like, look, we winning now, right? We the ones out here. We getting to the bag. We got all the tech jobs. We got the house overlooking on the hill. We ain't got no kids, no baby mamas, no felonies, all this other stuff.